Well, hi everybody, Father Alex here. Welcome to another episode of the Godcast. I'm the Vicar of St Matthew's Church in Burnley. I'm the author of Our Daily Bread from Argos to the Altar, and I'm a member of the Church of England General Synod. My guest this week on the Godcast is Matt Nelson. Matt is the lead singer of East Lancashire band the Milltown Brothers, and we're going to be talking about his new album, his career in music. And so I do hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, do please subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow me on Twitter at AlexDJFrost. But for now, I hope you enjoy this interview with Matthew Nelson. Well, I'm delighted to say that joining me on the Godcast this week is the frontman of the Milltown Brothers, Matt Nelson. Matt, it's great to get you on. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. It's great to get you on to talk some music and particularly talk about the new album. What's the early responses been to the new album?
Well, dare I say, it's been very positive, I think. Especially we've got a sort of a smallish but very tight, enthusiastic group of fans, people who have followed us for a long time and are really very generous with their time, coming to see us. And their reaction has been very positive, their comments and sort of what we've heard as feedback. I think generally everyone has been really good about it. We're very happy with it as a band. It's what we wanted to set out to do. We wanted to create a sort of a live sounding album because I think we've always felt we're better live than maybe we are sometimes on records. So we wanted to bring that sort of feeling to the record. So we recorded it as live for most of it. And so, yeah, generally the reaction's been very good and we're very pleased with it. So hopefully it'll have legs.
I'd love to get into a bit of the nitty gritty about putting an album together, Matt. But maybe first of all, what's the intention beyond the fan base? Is the hope always that you attract new people to your music? And one of the things I love is discovering bands that I didn't know yesterday. I'm always looking out for new
Mm.
sounds, and I'm sure there are people like me. Is that kind of in the thought process?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very. I mean, we never had a plan, which has probably been one of our big downfalls. We've it really, if I were you to ask me what's the reason for doing it, I don't know. I don't. We just we're very good friends, and we've kept very good friends. I mean, for a long time. Obviously, I think we've been going as a band for 35, 36, 37 years or whatever. So we enjoy getting together. We enjoy others' company. We enjoy the feeling of being in a band. Obviously, the hope is that at some point we will be able to stretch out beyond, our sort of fan base. But at the same time, we were surprised, just how many people did come and watch us. When we decided to do gigs about 2.5 years ago, and didn't really know what to expect. And I think we're into our 14th, 15th gig, and every show has been well attended and gone down. It's been like the old days, really. People sort of singing along, and so it's been great, and that's what encouraged us to do another album. I always write songs personally, so I'm always doing that, and I'll then start hassling certain members of the band, saying, "Well, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?" And they'll either say, "It's all right," or yeah, let's have that one could be something, and then that kind of tends to lead when they think we've got enough material. We kind of start rehearsing, and then that leads on from there, and then the band pull the songs into some sort of shape because all the songs that I personally write, are just kind of strummed on an acoustic guitar and need knocking into some sort of listenable format.
I suppose when you've been mates for as long as you have, you get some real honest feedback as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think that's quite. It is quite reassuring, but it's something that's never changed as well. So yeah, it is, and it's. I think that's one of the fears of being in the band is it's a kind of safe space in many ways because you can be whoever you want to be. There's no surprises. Everybody knows each other. Back to front, up and down, whichever way you want to skin it. But we all know each other so well that it's kind of we just revert back to type. Really, we could be like 21 again when we're all back in the band
Yeah.
situation.
So I just want to push you a bit more on why a new album then, because I suppose you could just get together as mates and do gigs and people will come and see you. So what was the actual driving force beyond it? Was it the necessity to fulfill a creative
Yeah,
expression? What was it?
I think it was. I think we were very so initially when we got back to playing again in around 2022. Actually, one of the band members had a bit of a health scare, so that was the impetus for that. And then we really enjoyed the playing live again because we hadn't played live really for 20 years. You know, we'd done the odd gig here and there, but we really enjoyed that. And then I've I mean, I'm sure the other band members do, and I think because I'm the singer, I get to write more songs or whatever, but I'm always writing, and it's something that I just constantly do. So I'm always looking for an outlet for that, and I think um, for everyone else to be interested, I think they wanted to bring their own style to it. You know, we wanted to make more of Barney, who's you know, a really brilliant musician, but we've kind of maybe drowned him out in the past, you know, with his piano, his boogie woogie piano playing. So we wanted, personally, I wanted it to be a bit more of an album that Barney could shine on. I think Nian had a strong view that we wanted to keep pushing. You know, Nian's very keen that we don't sort of record the same album again and again, and we do move on. So obviously James and Sam have a big say in the musicality of the band, as well as writing some of the songs on this album. So yeah, I think it just kind of came out of the live performances. Then we decided we wanted to do another album, and we had a strong vision of what we wanted to do, and that's really what brought it together. And Boogie Woogie was kind of like a nod to Barney, and Barney, to be fair to him, is a good times character. You know, he likes to enjoy life and doesn't look at the darker side of things too much. So we wanted it to be a light-hearted, not political, not anything. Just I think James said, you know, we're like minstrels, just turning up, just giving everybody hopefully a good time, and let everybody let their hair down.
Yeah, I've been listening to the album over the last few days, and it's definitely it's light. It's kind of got a, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but it's kind of got a country bluesy feel to it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I like
And
that.
I've been exploring country music and almost falling in love with a whole new genre of music. Where did that kind of decision come from? Have you guys listened to it like I
Yeah,
would?
well, I kept saying to James, we need a banjo on this album. And even before we even started getting into it, so he bought him a banjo and learned how to play a bit, and that brought a lot to it. When we started off, actually, right back in you know, we used to be quite influenced by country sort of sound. You know, we kind of, when we were feeding our way, you know, a lot of even the first EP, which has a couple of songs which are pretty country in feel. We were kind of just feeling our way with that sort of sound. As you do, you kind of evolve and evolve. So yeah, it's always something that we, you know, the acoustic kind of feel is where we feel probably more at home than sometimes this indie. Certainly, the more baggy indie that we got labelled with, which wasn't anywhere near what we we're aspiring towards, or what we actually were.
And when you're actually working on the album, Matt, does it? I've always been interested in this, how it all comes together. I mean, of course you've got the lyric, but how does it all become one big crescendo, if that makes sense? You know, do you jam for a bit, or does somebody actually sit and compose it on the piano? Just share with people how that
Yeah,
process
well,
works.
with this one, we will. I'll bring say from so I'll bring some songs into the studio and play them acoustically, and then it'll just start to evolve. The Neil joining on the drums and Barney on the keyboard, everyone will join it together, and then we kind of that at that point is quite a critical process for the songs. For song because if it doesn't really gel, the song doesn't sound long, and it doesn't get long in Milltown Brothers world. If it doesn't happen in the first 2 or 3 tries, generally that's it. It doesn't work. It goes. So certain songs, like I could probably write 30 songs for this album, of which 8 or 9 have stuck, and the others have been, didn't work for whatever reason, don't really feel part of the band. And then some songs that you think aren't as good really get stronger when we play them and have a real different feel. Some like Fool on the album, the guitar and the banjo make something about that song that's really kind of unique, I think. Whereas when I hear me strumming on the acoustic, it just sounds like it doesn't say anything like that. So yeah, it's kind of everybody's got to be inspired to create a part that they like, and then that gels together to become what is the song ultimately.
How long would you say, Matt, it takes from that process to go, right? This is the finished article. I mean, I don't mean till it's actually recorded, but you think, no, this is it.
Well, I think for this album, really, we did about 3, 4 rehearsals of say a day each, and then we went in and recorded the songs in a week. And then once they were recorded, well, 5 days, and then went back to do some overdubs and some backing vocals and some lead vocals on them. But that was the duration of it. It was quick, and we wanted it to be sort of that way, really.
And just share a bit about the marketing process, Matt. I mean, in the old days, you and I are old enough to remember vinyl. In fact, I still buy
Yeah,
vinyl, but I don't buy it from like full whack. I like the traditional
yeah,
dealer. But obviously, and that was a great source of income for bands back in the day. But now everything's digital, and I've spoken to numerous musicians who just say it's very difficult to make a buck. I'm guessing you're not in this for the financial remuneration package.
no, no. I think I'm one of the only musicians who actually owes the PRS money. It's like I'm a. We never. Yeah, it's never for the money. It hasn't been really. Milltown Brothers is not about it. Yeah, I don't know how you would make money on it. Really, I know. So we paid for the record ourselves. We've out of gig, playing some gigs, and then we got Ian very kindly with his record label up in Scotland. Has released it for us on vinyl, which is great that we got a vinyl out. But we don't expect really to see any money from that or from the Spotify. I think I can see Spotify accounts, and I think last look we've had a bit, but if it gets up to 650, we get a payout. So we're still waiting on that bit, I think. But yeah, it's not about that. It's about what else it gives you, which is the spiritual side of it's probably the wrong word, but the release, the kind of the good vibe you get from it.
I think in many ways, Matt, it shows people or it tells people how difficult it is for young artists, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I went to Tramlines a few years back and went to the BBC introducing stage, and there were some fabulous young musicians, but I've never seen or heard of them since. It's where you get the airplay, isn't it? It's where it's
It's so difficult. Yeah, I mean, back in the day when we were in the early '90s, obviously even before then was yeah, but you used to have certain gatekeepers who, if you could get in to that world, then you get promoted, you get played on the radio. It was quite formulaic in many ways. Now it's just like the Wild West, isn't it? Everybody can release stuff, which in many ways is better, but there's so much of it. It's hard for anybody to stand out, I think. Certainly, yeah, as a creator, to make money is so difficult. For a young artist to do it, it's always a way though, isn't it? With I work in TV and the sort of film side of with my sort of working life now, and there's always 3% who make an absolute fortune, and the rest are kind of, you know, hired hands, aren't they? Trying to make a living out of the industry. Creative industries have always been like that. You know, if you're lucky enough to get into that top 2 or 3, the percent, then you know the gifts keep coming forever. But if not, then it's difficult.
Yeah. And has there been interest from like Radio 6, for example, or
We
anyone?
play, yeah. Radio Six have been very good. They played it, played quite a few of the new songs, which is really good because I mean, you know, Steve Lamac's been very good over the years. He's really supported us, and
Going out for an hour, Mark.
perfect. Thank you. There's my. So yeah, they're very good, and this time we've had sort of 3 or 4 or 5 plays on Radio 6, which is good, and some, you know, some independent sort of online radio picked up on it and played it. So yeah, it's had a good run, and again, I think it has been well received. I think, you know, we feel confident that it's a good record. People are saying it's probably the best one since Slinky or Long Road got well received. But, you know, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You never know. People, you know, we were worried about a couple of songs on there. High Low was one that we thought was a little bit different. Would people like it? And people really liked it. And then some you think will like, not so keen on. So you never know how it'll be sort of received.
And what about your voice, Matt? How do you assess your vocals over the, you know, I'm publicly state on my podcast, I'm a huge fan of the band Depeche Mode, I'm sure you'll be familiar with.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I think they've evolved and got better as the years have progressed. What do you feel that about your own instrument, which is your voice, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think I definitely feel I'm singing better now. I think as a band we're playing with a lot more feel than we did, and so there's more light and shade to what we do. We have quieter moments and like, whereas it was all very intense and full on when we're, you know, in our 20s, and possibly we weren't looking after the instruments as well as we should have done. So the performances weren't probably were as much about the atmosphere as as it was about the music. Now it's more about the music. So I think we're definitely playing and singing better.
And do the guys push you vocally? You know, do they kind of say, no, go harder, or do they, or do you know your instrument well enough?
Yes, I think no, I think I'm kind of left to my own. I've got my own sort of range, and I think they know that. The guitar, my acoustic guitar playing, they'll definitely. I'm always asking them to have it in the monitors. My acoustic guitar, none of them ever want any of it, my acoustic anywhere near them. So definitely that my music playing, they will definitely have an opinion on. But I think vocally, not so much. I think we've tried, which we are. I know James is very much on this, trying to get our harmonies to be a bit tighter. I think, you know, things like that are just doing the hard work of, you know, practicing it. So we're trying to get everything to be a lot more musical than maybe in the past, where we could be a bit hit and miss with that sort of thing.
And who were your influences, Matt, as a kid? Start, going back a few years.
Well, the big influence was really for us. I went to stay with my brother who was living in Nottingham. He's 5 years older than me, Simon, and he was at university in Nottingham, and I went out to see him and stay with him. And in that week, REM were playing, supported by the Mighty Hurrah. I don't remember that. And Prefab Sprout were playing on the day after, supported by the Faith Brothers. So Prefab Sprout and REM became a massive influence on us. And then obviously Bob Dylan, we've always listened. I think you can see that in what we do. He's always been a big fan of it. My actual go-to person of all time is Neil Young. Neil Young's my hero musically. David Bowie, all the kind of great songwriters.
Yeah.
But certainly that REM, Murmur for REM, and their early albums were big influences, on us, I think.
I've been. It's funny you say that because I was out with walking the dogs with my wife yesterday, and I just happened to randomly say, "I wish REM would get back together because
Yeah.
it's one of the bands I've not seen. I've seen a lot of bands live, and I would love to see them." And Michael Stipe's vocals are extraordinary, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Well, I mean, myself, Nian, and Jay, we sold them quite a bit actually, and our record company representative in America were friends with REM, and REM came to watch us play at the Town and Country Club, as was I think the Forum now, and Barney was introduced to them, and not me. And I think Barney was a bit worse for wear and didn't make the best impression. So that's something I always bring up to Barney over the year. It could have been so different if, but anyway, that's that's how life goes sometimes.
And you mentioned your brother Simon, who's incidentally been on the Godcast. If anyone wants to check that out, that's on YouTube. I think I remember asking Simon something like, any regrets about how it all turned out because obviously there was that, very successful album. Um,
Yeah,
and I've interviewed lots of musicians, Matt, and it seems to be quite common that the second album is the difficult. It really is the difficult album because often the bands have got a bit of arrogance because they've had a bit of
yeah.
success, and the label wants something else, and it creates all sorts of division. Just what's your reflection on those times?
Yeah, I think there's something in that, definitely. I think, you see a lot of bands, you start off very fresh faced, and then you go on tour for 8 months, and you come back with long hair, and all your songs are about 8 minutes long, and you've been told, basically back when record companies were, they didn't want to release it. Can you write another song? So we had a lot of friction with our record company, and I think that was quite hard. And by the time we managed to get a second album out, we kind of, because it'd been such a struggle, and then was um, so not well received that it kind of felt, that we'd lost all impetus by then. And then I think to compound it, all the contemporary bands that we were playing around at the Blur, Oasis, went on to be, not just successful, but probably some of the most successful, bands of all time. So, yeah, so you had to kind of like watch that kind of play out while, I went back to work as a shoe consultant at Next, So it's like, them's the breaks. I was telling her, because we've had a book out recently, and yeah, one of the stories that he liked, and I just said I was putting a shoe onto a female's foot Next in London, and she said, "Were you in the Milltown Brothers?" And it was like, oh, yes, I was. So yeah, but it's all part of a life's rich tapestry, isn't it? So
Well, it is. I mean, any bitterness or not? Are you kind
not
of
at all now. No, no, all very. I think that's again another part of it. We've all gone off and had to do different things with our lives, and actually, we've been pretty successful. We're still here. We've all got families. We're happy. We're healthy. Touch wood. And so we're all okay. I think, and we enjoy doing what we're doing. So no regret. Early days probably thought it stung a bit, to be fair, but certainly not now.
was it the friendship that brought you back together? I had Rick Witter on from Shed Seven, who they had quite an acrimonious fallout for a while, but then ultimately they realised they were mates, and it
Yeah,
it needed to just kind of wash away and create something. Was that the same for you guys?
probably. Yeah, I don't think we didn't fall out as such, but you do um, have to find your way in life. When it all finishes, you land, and that you've got to sort of do something, haven't you? So everybody kind of did go their separate ways for 5-6 years, just trying to work out what they were doing, and but I think yeah, we were always in touch, and it was good. So we did an album in 2005, I think, and so that was a start. And then we just kind of done one every 5 or 6, 7 years. You know, not prolific, but we just keep ticking over.
And you've got this gig coming up at the Muni, bit of a
Yeah, so that's that. I think that would be nice to bring it full circle because that's when I think like, we always remember there's a date when we've been played a lot of gigs. We released a couple of indie records even before then, and we've been playing a lot, driving around this orange van we bought, and we played at Cone, and I think the single had just got in the charts. I just got, and suddenly it was full, and it was great atmosphere. So we've gone from playing for like 3 or 4 people to now people are turning up to watch and knew the songs, and it was, and the Colin seems to be in our heads the start of that. So it'd be nice to play there again, and it's a great venue. So nice to go back there
and what can fans expect there? Bit of old and bit of something
yeah,
new.
definitely. We play stuff off the Boogie Woogie, but it's obviously Slinky, and I think a lot of the fans like a lot of the B sides. So we're always trying to find songs that we've had off other albums or B sides that we've done in the early days. So we tried to mix it up all the time and play, a decent length set. The voices. Oh, hang on, we've got defibrillators backstage in case we need them. So yeah.
You got any support act on with you, Matt?
Well, we're looking at that. We're trying to figure out what would be the best way. Maybe some young bands to give them an exposure or opportunity. Or
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really get involved too much with that myself, but I think everyone's putting their heads together. What would be the best people to play with?
And then what? I mean, there's, the one area where musicians do tell me where not, I certainly you don't come across it, you're in it for the money at all, you're in it for the music, but the festival scene can offer some great opportunities for bands, can't it? Is that something that you've been?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got we've been promised a couple of slots on 2 festivals next year. I don't know that I can say what they are in case it falls through, but yeah, I think that was another one actually that we when we started playing again, they said we really must get on a festival. That'd be really good for our families to come to, and just have a kind of good day out.
Yeah. And what about just as we get to the end of this, Matt? What music is inspiring you at the minute? Have you found any new artists lately that you're enjoying?
I should say I can never remember any names, to be honest. I'm listening to a lot more on Spotify. I really like the band from Cone actually, with the girl who's from Cone. I think they're really good, and she's obviously a very talented person. God, I can't remember the name.
I can't help you on that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm always listening, but I don't really kind of follow bands as such or artists really. Although Charlie XCX is on my playlist a lot because of my daughter these days. So
Oh right, yeah.
that sort of pop music I hear.
I think it's great, isn't it? I mean, I've got daughters and a son, and my son's into Sleep Token. It's not really my bag. And then I've got Holly and Rachel, my other, constantly going, listen to this. Do you like it? Do you like it? And
Yeah,
I quite like that.
yeah. Well, Olivia Rodrigo, I quite enjoy it. I enjoy watching her on Glastonbury. So there's always talent, isn't there? Always a lot of talented
Yeah,
artists
we're
out
off
there.
to see Tom Odell in a few weeks. So I think he's quite talented actually. He's a talented guy.
Yeah.
So
Where's he plays? He
he's doing a co-op arena. I think he's
right.
for
Well,
a big venue.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I do prefer I'd love to see you guys at the Albert Halls in Manchester. That is a
Yeah,
massive venue. That
we need to play in Manchester. We really, it's bizarre that we haven't really kind of, we did a bit of a gig at the merch market, Tim Burgess merch market, but been nice to do our own little sort of show there. We've done Trays, which is really nice. That's a lovely venue.
I'm sure folk could come.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we'll hopefully if we get people down to Colne, which I think the sales have gone pretty well so far, so
Yeah.
that's looking hopeful. Then, yeah, we always try and have a really good time, and I think we are enjoying it on stage a lot, which hopefully comes across, and the audience sort of seem to respond to that quite well.
So if people want a hard version of the CD or vinyl, Matt, where can they get it?
So you get it off our Facebook, or you can order it on. It's Last Night from Glasgow is a record label, and you can get it online from them, or come to the gig, and
Yeah,
we'll
be
have some
there.
there.
Yeah. Great. Well, I hope to be there at Colne to see you guys, and good luck with everything. And thanks for coming on, Matt. It's great to see, and it is. I'm only listened a couple of times, but it's one of those where, and I kind of know a good album if I want to go back to it, and I'm definitely going to go back to it. So,
Nice one, thank you.
congrats on a good album, and thanks for coming on, Matt.
Brilliant, much appreciated. Thank you.